Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Big Red Express coming live from 18-2. We're back. It's been a while, been a few weeks. Sorry it's been so long, but finals are coming up. Just taking a little break right now. This is a college bowl game special coming to you live from the hall here at 18-2, the glorious 18-2. From the hall itself, got the phones right there, right there, And we're just going to be broadcasting, do a little bit of in-game stuff, a little bit of, tell you what bowl games are when and who's competing in which ones. So that's what this show is mainly going to be about. First off, I just wanted to say thank you for tuning in, everyone out there, all around the world, Canada, uh, Virginia, all the states in the United States of America. Thank you for coming and thank you for watching. I want to thank you again, just all the people that have watched this and that are watching this. All right, get down to business. Big wins this weekend. As you know, last Thursday, Oregon did squeak by Oregon State in the Civil War, beat them 37-33. Cincinnati squeaks by Pittsburgh this past Saturday, 45-44. West Virginia beats Rutgers 24-21. ECU takes down Houston for the Conference USA title 38-32. Boise State beats New Mexico State 42-7 to finish their another perfect season for them. USC loses to Arizona 21-17. Florida gets smashed by Alabama by the score of 32-13. Washington beats the number 19 team Cal by the score of 42-10. And finally, in Texas, squeaks by Nebraska 13-12. Colt McCoy, great game. And finally, Clemson loses to Georgia Tech in the ACC Championship 39-34. Now we'll get some bowl games for you guys. Let you guys know what's going to go on, what is going to happen. The bowl games start December 19th. They go all the way to January 7th, starting with New Mexico Bowl. It's going to be Wyoming versus Fresno State. December 19th also. The St. Petersburg Bowl. Rutgers versus University of Central Florida. December 20th, the R+L Currie's New Orleans Bowl, which will be in New Orleans. It's going to be Southern Miss versus Middle Tennessee. On December 22nd, the Mako Las Vegas Bowl is BYU versus Oregon State. December 23rd, the Poinsettia Bowl, Mountain West versus Pac-10, Utah is going to be facing off against California. Shares the Hawaii Bowl. This is in Hawaii. Will be SMU versus Nevada on the 26th, the day after Christmas. The Emerald Bowl will be Boston College versus USC, University of Southern Cal. East versus West. You got also on that day, you got the Meineke Car Care Bowl. You got North Carolina versus Pitt. Should be a very good game right there. Very good game right there. Also on that day, 26th, Little Caesars Pizza Bowl. You got Ohio versus Marshall. Very close game between the Big Ten and the Mountain Athletic, the MAC Conference. December 27th, the one bowl game that is the Music City Bowl, ACC versus SC. It's going to be Clemson versus Kentucky. Big game right there. Right there. CJ Spiller for Heisman. Independence Bowl on December 28th, the only bowl game on this day, will be Texas A&M versus Georgia. Should be a very, very good game there. On the 29th of December, Champs Sports Bowl, which will feature Miami versus Wisconsin. 30th of December, there are 4 games on this day. Temple versus Army or UCLA, depending on what happens. December 30th, also, Nebraska versus Arizona should be a very good game. Big 10 versus Big 12, sorry, versus Pac-10. Uh, the Roadies Humanitarian Bowl, Idaho versus Bowling Green, and also the Texas Bowl, which will be Missouri versus Navy. The 31st, the Armed Forces Bowl, Air Force versus Houston. Big games right there. The 31st also, there are also 4 games on this day. You got the Brute Sun Bowl, which is Stanford versus Oklahoma. Very, very good matchup. You will see that going on then. You got Minnesota versus Iowa State in the Inside Bowl. Chick-fil-A Bowl, big game right here, also on the 31st. You have Virginia Tech versus Tennessee, a big ACC SEC matchup. Both teams had pretty good years. They had their ups and downs. Tennessee, only lost to Florida by about 10 points. Almost beat Alabama. Top 2 teams right there, SEC. Virginia Tech also had some big wins, but also had some key losses throughout the season to not gain that ACC title. January 1st, get some New Year's bowls. Bring in the new year with the Outback Bowl starting. You got Big 10 versus the SEC, and you got Northwestern versus Auburn. Big game right there. Also, Capital One Bowl. You got Penn State versus LSU. Should be a very, very good game. Joe Pa is going to look to retain another bowl win in the Capital One Bowl. The Gator Bowl, Florida State versus West Virginia, another big game right there. Anything can happen. January 2nd, 5 games, big game of football on the 2nd of January. You have East Carolina versus Arkansas, good Conference USA champs versus the SEC champs. International Bowl in Canada itself, Big East versus Mountain West, and you got South Florida versus Northern Illinois. You got the AT&T Cotton Bowl, Big 12 versus the SEC, Oklahoma State versus Ole Miss. Big game right there. Papa John's Bowl, January 2nd. You got UConn versus South Carolina. Both had semi-good years, but also had their ups and downs. You got the Valero Alamo Bowl, which is Michigan State versus Texas Tech. You got those. January 6th also. January 6th, you also got the GMAC Bowl. You got Central Michigan versus Troy. January 1, some BCS Bowls going on. You get back to your BCS, the 5 BCS Bowls. You got the Rose Bowl on the January 1st, Ohio State versus Oregon. Big 10 versus Pac-10 and the championship there. Sugar Bowl. You got Cincinnati versus Florida. Cincinnati trying to wrap up an undefeated season against Florida, who was number 1 most of the year. In the Fiesta Bowl, you got the perfect Fiesta Bowl right there. Boise State versus TCU. And something that you never know what's going to happen. 2 undefeated teams have great seasons. We'll see who comes out on top. Orange Bowl, big BCS versus ACC champions. So you got Iowa versus Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, and you just never know what's going to happen. Iowa's had a great year, had a couple key losses throughout the season, and you just never know what's going to happen throughout this game. And in the BCS National Championship on January 7th, to close things out, you have the BCS number 1 versus number 2. You do have Alabama versus Texas in a showdown that people have been waiting for all season long. Well, guys, that's our show. We want to thank you for joining us and join us throughout the entire bowl season. I'm signing out until after finals. We will talk to you later. As for the Big Red Express, I'm gone, you're gone, and we'll talk to you later. See you guys.